and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about percent of change, and basically what that is, when you think of gas prices or phone prices, your cell phones, computers, they change over time, the cost. So sometimes we need to figure out what the percent of change is. So it tells you right here, let's highlight this. A percent of change tells you how much an amount has increased or decreased in relation to the original amount. You can see an increase or decrease based on the original quantity and the new quantity. So there's two methods to find the answer, and I'm going to show you both and show you which one is probably easier for you. For the first example, we're going to use the percent of increase. You're going from 12 years to 14 years, and we're going to use the formula, the amount of increase times 100, amount of increase over original amount times 100. So basically what you're going to do, the amount of increase, you're going from 12 to 14. So the amount of increase would be 2, and the original amount is 12 years. You're going to divide that, then multiply by 100. And when you do that, 2 over 12 is obviously 1/6, which is a 0.16 repeating. If you multiply it by 100, moving the decimal 2 to the right, you're going to get 16.6 repeating, or a 17% increase. So that would be your answer, 17% increase, and you can use an I for increase. Now, if you want to use example 2, which is the one I tend to use, and it's basically a formula that we have come up with. So you will want to memorize this formula, the amount of change, so new minus old, over the original amount. So I'm going to do this one using this formula. So the amount of change, so the formula you want to use is new minus the old over the old. And that's the formula that I recommend that you memorize. So if we do it that way, we're going to take 14 years, that's the new, minus the original, the old, which is 12, over the old, or the original amount. And you're going to get 2 over 12, which is a 0.166. Move the decimal 2 to the right, 16.6%. And again, you're going to get 17%, just like you did in the first one. So let's go ahead and use that formula for these 3 examples. If you're going from 7 to 11, you're still going to use that same formula up there, new minus old over old. So 7 to 11, I'm going to take 11 minus 7 over the old, which is 7. You're going to get 4/7. Change that to a decimal. You will get a 0.57. So obviously that is a 57% of an increase. All right, let's do the next one. 51 to 87. So look at your formula, new minus old. So 87 minus 51 over 51 equals 36 over 51. Change it to a decimal, which I believe is 0.705. And that turns into 71% of an increase. All right, 12 to 47. Again, new minus old over old. 47 minus 12 over 12 equals 35 over 12. That's going to give you 2.916. So if you move the decimal 2 to the right, that is 292% of an increase. Okay. Example 3. I'm going to go back and still use the same formula, new minus old. I'll write that here, new minus old over old. So new, which is 14, minus the old, which is 17. So you know it's a decrease because you're getting a negative number, over the old, which is 17. So when you get your answer, you're going to get 0.1764, and it is a negative, and the negative here is just going to mean that it is a decrease, that's all. And when you change that to a percent, you could just say that it's 18% of a decrease, and that negative will tell you whether or not it's an increase or a decrease. Negative would mean decrease. For the following, number 4, we'll use, this is the actual problem from this one. So again, you can use either formula. If you want to do amount of decrease over the original amount times 100, that's fine. But the new minus old over old seems to work, and it's very easy. So let's go down to the bottom for, these are all going to be a decrease. So for the bottom, if you use the same formula, new minus old over old. Well, if you take the new one, which is 6 here, 6 minus 11.1, you know you're getting a negative number, so there is a decrease, whether it's a decrease in price or decrease in inches, over the old, which was 11.1. So when you get your answer, you do get a negative, and again, the negative is just going to tell you that it is a decrease. And then when you divide that, you're going to get a decimal. And we know it's a decrease, so it will round to 46% decrease. Okay. The next one, let's use a different color. So 12 minus 20 over 20. That gives me a negative 8 over 20, which gives me a negative 0.4. And that will be 40% of a decrease. Okay, go ahead and pause and try the last one on your own. Okay, hopefully you have solved it correctly. We're going to say 34 minus 92 over 92. You will get a negative 58 over a 92, which gives you a negative 0.63. So that is a 63% decrease. So when you come back to class, I would like for you to tell me some products or situations where you would have a percent of increase or decrease. And I just wanted to show you one more thing. Like I said, there are different values. What about values of cars? They change over time. Video games, and I said computers. So when something increases or decreases in value, it could be useful to know the percent of that change in value. So let me know what kinds of things would be important to know the change in their value. So when you come back to class, I'd like to hear your ideas, or just jot them down at the bottom of your notes. Okay, have a great evening.